What's up everyone, June with the Sushi Man, and in this video, I'm doing something a little bit different. I was inspired by a recent show that I watched on Netflix called Culinary Class Wars, which I'm sure many of you have also watched. It's a Korean cooking competition show that's kind of a blend between Iron Chef and Physical 100. And I have to say, there were some really good looking dishes, which inspired me to try making some myself. So in this video, I'm going to recreate and teach you how to make the Salmon Roe and Caviar Rice Bowl, also known as arabab in Korean or Ikuradon in Japanese. And I'll share how much everything costs at the end of the video, so be sure to stick till then, especially if you want to make this yourself. Alright, without further ado, let's jump right in. But first, I just want to give a quick thanks to you. Whether you're new or returning to my channel, thank you for being here. Now, I want to ask you for a simple favor. If you're enjoying my content and you're finding it helpful, then please consider hitting that subscribe button. It really does make a difference and it allows me to continue making more creative and better content. So again, I really appreciate you all being here. Now back to our video. So if you watched the show, you'll remember that this caviar rice bowl was one of the dishes during the team restaurant round and was the highest priced item out of all the menus. They priced it at 58,000 Korean won, which honestly sounded like a lot more than what it is in US dollar. At the time I'm making this video, 58,000 won is about 42 US dollars. Which, don't get me wrong, is still a premium price for one dish, but it's actually pretty reasonable for what you get, at least in today's economy. So let's check out what actually goes into this. First thing, of course, is a bowl of rice. And then it's topped with a boatload of ikura, which is salmon roe. And then on top of that is a decent amount of caviar, maybe about 1 tablespoon or so. And then at the very top is some wasabi. Now, honestly, it looks like they used imitation wasabi rather than grating the real one. If they were using real wasabi, I'm pretty sure they would have showcased it, or at least shown us a scene of them grating it, unless I totally missed it. Anyways, I'm going to be using kizami wasabi instead, which is real wasabi that's been chopped up and marinated in soy sauce. It's not quite freshly grated real wasabi, but it has a much better flavor than the imitation version, in my opinion. Okay, then we have the nori, which is dried seaweed. It's called gim in Korean, and everyone was absolutely raving over it. Some even mentioned that the best part of the whole dish was the seaweed, which says a lot. And there's a specific way the chef prepared it, which I'm going to try to recreate. So for this, we need some nori, of course. I'm just going to use my sushi nori since I have a ton. Next, for the seasoning, we need some sesame oil, perilla oil, and a little bit of salt. And then lastly, some soy sauce on the side if you prefer. And that's it. Now let's start prepping. First thing to do is cook the rice. And we don't need to make it into sushi rice, unless you want to. I'm pretty sure they didn't in the show, so I'm going to leave it as regular steam rice. Next, let's work on our seaweed. First, we mix the two oils together in a simple 1-to-1 ratio. And then using a brush, we want to lightly coat the seaweed with the oil. And I'm pretty sure we only do this for one side. I never saw her brushing both sides, and plus I think it'll get a little too oily, so we'll just keep it like this. Now we sprinkle on a little bit of salt. Not too much though. Okay, and then we just do the same thing for however many sheets you want to make. Alright, now let's go roast these. So heat up a large frying pan over medium-low heat, and once it's heated, toss in the nori. And she did 1 sheet at a time on the show, meaning no stacking. Mine are half sheets though, so I have space to do 2 at a time. And then we just let this cook for about 30 to 40 seconds or so. And you can use a spatula to kind of press it down to make sure it cooks evenly. Now we just flip it over and do the same thing. Once it's done, just leave it off to the side to cool and we'll finish the rest. Okay, now we're just going to cut these into smaller squares. Alright, and that's pretty much it for the prep. Everything else is really just plating, so let's move on to that. And there you have it. Looks like something you'll get at a super high-end sushi restaurant, right? Or a Korean cooking competition show. It's an extremely simple dish that showcases the ingredients in its raw form, literally. And I can see why they included it on their menu. It feels very luxurious, but doesn't take much time or manpower to make, which is a big win when you're running a restaurant. However, I'm not sure if they had to think about the profit margin. And that leads us into the cost. Now, I got everything from regular consumer stores, meaning I didn't go through any special vendors or get anything at wholesale price. So obviously, the most expensive item on here is the caviar. I got this one from Whole Foods, and it cost me about $50 for this 1-ounce jar, and that's US dollars. Now, I got this classic American white sturgeon caviar, which seems to be decent and about middle of the pack. But of course, you can easily spend more on higher grade caviar if you want. I'm not a caviar specialist, so I just went with this. Next, we have the ikura, which my local Asian market had on sale for about $16, and it came in a pack that was 200 grams, which is about 7 ounces. And then the rice, wasabi, and seaweed, plus the seasoning oils, which I'm not calculating the cost of the entire bottles, but we're probably looking at what, $3-4 at the most? So altogether, that's right about $70 to make this one dish. Now, of course, I didn't use all of it, but at least 3/4, so that's about what, $55 or so? Now again, that's all retail prices. If we got the ingredients at wholesale, then obviously it'll be much cheaper. But now that $42 that they were charging doesn't seem that high, right? Now, the ultimate deciding factor is the taste test, which I'm super excited for. So I'm gonna go take some quick photos of this and then we'll dig in. Alright, the moment I've been waiting for. Itadakimasu. First, I want to try this nori by itself. See if it stands up to all the hype. Oh yeah. That is delicious. I don't know if I did the chef justice, but I've had my fair share of Korean seaweed and I have to say, this might be one of the best. Definitely can't compare with the store-bought ones. I think it's the perilla oil that really gives it depth and balance. We're off to a good start. Now let me make a small temaki like they were doing on the show. Yeah, look at that. And then just a hint of soy sauce. Maybe. There we go. Itadakimasu. The ikura is nothing new to me, of course, but the combination of the caviar with the ikura and with the seasoned seaweed, now that is a winner for sure. I mean, how can it be bad, right? Man, this is so good. If you're a fan of ikura and caviar, then this is a must try. Now, the question is it worth $55? On a normal occasion, probably not. But let's say you're celebrating something special, an anniversary, birthday, whatever, and you want to make a special meal that doesn't require much work, then yeah, I can see it being worth it. Add a nice bottle of champagne, and you can still keep it under $200, assuming it's for 2 people, which nowadays is really easy to spend out at restaurants. So if you're looking to impress someone or just want a luxurious night in, then you might want to look into making this. It's extremely satisfying, that's for sure. Alright, I'm gonna let you guys go now so I can go enjoy this amazing bowl. As always, thanks for watching, and feel free to leave me any questions or comments below. And for those that have watched the show, let me know if there's another dish on there that you would want to see me make, or at least attempt to make. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Arigatou gozaimasu. That is money.